All right, guys, moving right along in the heroic journey here. We're now coming to after the crossing of the threshold. We're into the actual adventure part of the story, and we are going to see what's called the approach to the inmost cave. Sometimes this is just called the approach. In every heroic story, especially your classical mythological ones, there is a physically dangerous place that the hero has to go through in order to get whatever it is that they're after. Okay, this could be a treasure, this could be information, this could be whatever achievement that they're looking for. And so in classical mythology, this is always a trip to the underworld. Okay, they go down there to meet somebody, they go down there to get something. That is the physically dangerous place. In other modern stories, this can take on just anything that's scary. It could be like going to the bully's table or surviving the lunchroom or whatever. It could also be something like the Death Star, which is aptly named because it's going to, I guess, bring death. And that's a physically dangerous place to go if you go there. Or the Forbidden Forest, which is forbidden because it's dangerous to be there. That's the inmost cave. In the inmost cave, typically, is when you're going to encounter something called the ordeal. This is like the climax or the pinnacle of the action for the story. This is the point where the hero has to overcome whatever the biggest obstacle is that they're going to have to overcome for this particular journey. Whatever they have to beat or defeat or get past in order to get whatever they're after, that happens here. And inevitably, it seems like it's not going to work out. That all of this pushing and all of this moving is for naught, because right before they get it, they're defeated. Okay, and it seems like it's all going to be destroyed. But then at the last second, what happens? They overcome and they are victorious. What I always think of in this are Rocky movies. I don't know if you've ever actually seen a Rocky movie before, but if you haven't, it really doesn't matter which one you've seen because they're all good, but they're all like exactly the same. Like Rocky spends the entire movie working out and preparing for a fight through like a montage of inspirational music. Okay. Then he gets to the moment where he's actually going to get into the boxing ring and actually do the fight. And even though he's prepared for the last, hour and a half or whatever, he gets in there and what happens immediately? He gets a tar beat out of him. Okay. And so most of the fight sequence in Rocky movies is Rocky getting beat up. Okay. And so inevitably he's going to fall to the ground. He's going to be laying there. They're going to be counting. And it's like 1, 2, 3. But then as it seems like everything is falling apart, slowly, inspirational music rises from the mat, as does Rocky. And somehow being punched in the face that many times is exactly what he needs to stand up and knock the other guy out. Just for the record, in case you see that and then think, you know what, if ever I get jumped, I'm just going to let this person just wail on me enough until I somehow get the strength to then overcome them. That's not how it usually works. Okay, you don't get superpowers because somebody like punches you in the face enough, but it does happen in Rocky movies and it does happen in mythology, right? Because that's what an ordeal is about. You have gone through stuff and gone through stuff and gone through stuff, and somehow learning from those mistakes gives you the strength that you need to overcome your obstacles. This is the transformation. This is what makes them become that ideal man or woman, because they are doing what we all wish we could do. That's the ordeal. Okay, so here's some classic ordeals. Oops. There they are. Sorry. So we have Luke fighting his father, Neo fighting that other guy. We have Mr. Harry going up against Dumbledore. These guys over here are very, very different kind of fight, because I want to make sure that you realize it's not just action movies that we see this in. We see this in things like, romantic comedies as well. Okay. I guess the cool kids call them, rom-coms. I'm not sure if you got to that level yet, but that's what they do, right? So in a romantic comedy, same idea. You have the same storyline every single time. Two people who should not be together, somehow through a series of possibly comedic events, they fall madly in love. But when everything seems like it's going great, what happens? The breakup scene. One finds out something about the other one, like potentially they're a vampire who wants to actually eat you or something like that. And it really doesn't work well for the relationship. So it seems like the whole relationship is just going to fall apart. But what happens at the end of every one of those movies? Love conquers all. And they are able to overcome these differences and come back together. That's an ordeal. They seem like everything's going to fall apart, but at the last second, it all comes back together. It's at that point that they're actually able to seize the reward. Okay, that's that seizing of the sword, the King Arthur illusion. They take whatever it is that they were actually going for. So it could be an object, an achievement, information. It could be some kind of romantic thing as well. And that is what we'll look at next time.